Let's configure local span using this topology. Specifically, we're going to go to PC1 and we're going to do a continuous ping to server 1. In fact, let's do that now. I'll say ping 10.1.1.100, and that starts our continuous ping to server 1. Now, we want to see if we can go to our network analyzer device and monitor this ping traffic, which is ICMP traffic. If I go over to the network analyzer, what we can do is give a TCP dump command. And because it's a privileged level command, I'll say sudo TCP dump, and I just want to capture ICMP traffic. And initially, it's looking, but it's not seeing anything. And that's because the Ethernet switch SW1, is doing its job. Switch SW1 is looking at destination MAC address information and going just to the server for those ICMP echo requests and going just to PC1 for those ICMP echo replies. But if I want to capture that traffic on this local switch, what I can do is configure local span. Local span meaning that the source that I'm monitoring is on the same physical switch as my network analyzer. And in this case, let's say that I want to monitor traffic going into and or coming out of Ethernet 0/0 connected to server 1, and I want to mirror that traffic and send that mirrored traffic down to my network analyzer off of Ethernet 0/1. Here's how we do that. Let's go over to switch SW1, and we want to configure a monitoring session. Let's go into global configuration mode, and I'll say monitor session, and I'll give a locally significant number of 1. And I'll say that my source interface is Ethernet 0/0. And just by saying Ethernet 0/0 and not specifying RX or TX, the default is both. I'm going to be monitoring both transmitted traffic and received traffic from the perspective of Ethernet 0/0. Now, where do I want to send copies of traffic that I'm mirroring on that source port? I'm going to go out of Ethernet 0/1, so I'll say monitor session 1, keeping the session number the same, destination interface Ethernet 0/1. And we can give a show command to verify our configuration. I'll say show monitor session 1. And we see that we're using one source port. There could be more, but we have a source port of Ethernet 0/0, and we're monitoring traffic in both directions. And copies of that traffic, that's being sent to our destination port of Ethernet 0/1, which means that TCP dump command over on our network analyzer, it should be showing us some ICMP traffic. And it is. You can see it scrolling past on the screen. So we are now capturing traffic thanks to the span feature. And that's one way to set up span, where we're configuring the source as a port or ports. But we have another option. We could configure that source as an entire VLAN. And right now, all of my ports belong to the default VLAN of 1. So let's set that up. What I'm going to do is delete my existing monitoring session. Let's say no monitor session 1. And at this point, our network analyzer should have stopped capturing traffic. Now you see there's no more ping traffic coming in. In fact, I'll even stop and restart that command. We're not currently capturing anything, but let's go back to SW1 and set up span again. And this time, let's say that the source is VLAN 1. And I'll say monitor session, and I'm going to say 2. I've deleted 1. I could use 1 again, but just to show that this is a different configuration, I'm going to say monitor session 2. And my source this time is not an interface, it's a VLAN. It's VLAN 1. I also want to say monitor session 2 destination, and this is going to be an interface, the same interface we used before, connected out to my network analyzer. That's Ethernet 0/1. We can again say show monitor session 2 this time. And instead of seeing a source port or ports, we see source VLANs. And we're monitoring traffic on VLAN 1 in both directions, and we're sending copies of that traffic out of Ethernet 0/1. And if we go to PC1, we see that those pings are still continuing. Now the question is, does the network analyzer see that ping traffic? And yes, it does, because we have configured span this time to monitor a VLAN rather than an individual port. And that's a look at the configuration of local span, where both the source and destination are on the same switch.